Hello again. Welcome back to Mish Reads. Today we're going to be talking about some of my favorite books of the past 5-ish years. I thought it might be fun to look through all of the books that I have tracked on apps the past couple of years. I started actively tracking in 2020, which pretty much realigns with the time that I started reading again heavily as an adult. Although I'm looking at it now, in 2020 has only 5 books read. So, and two of them were for my master's program, so maybe 3. But yeah, we'll just start there and we'll work our way up, and I'll just sort of kind of on the fly give you my thoughts about these books, and yeah, let's see how this goes. So, 2020, the books I have logged are Where the Crawdads Sing, Little Fires Everywhere, and Nine Perfect Strangers. So I don't know. Of these 3, if I had to pick one, at the time it was Where the Crawdads Sing, but finding out the wildness of what Delia Owens and her husband allegedly got up to makes me question that. I'm not really sure. Um Looking at it though, this is actually they're all 3 adaptations. So you have a movie for Where the Crawdads Sing, you have a show adaptation of Little Fires Everywhere, and then you have, I think, a show for Nine Perfect Strangers again. I have not watched the show for Nine Perfect Strangers, although I might be interested to check that out, even though I don't really remember um, much about the book. I think I was disappointed. It felt a little anticlimactic. Um, Spoiler alert if you've watched it, the fact that they all just sort of get trapped in that room and then they all get let out. I mean, I know it was kind of a character study for each person stuck, and they all kind of went on their own journey, but maybe it just didn't resonate very well with me. So that one was okay. Little Fires Everywhere, I really enjoyed that adaptation. Kerry Washington and Reese Witherspoon did an amazing job. So, yeah, maybe I would say that one. So now I'm gonna filter for 2021 and just take a little look. Okay, so I was getting into Karen Slaughter in 2021. So the first book I read by her was Pretty Girls, and I'm no stranger to graphic, you know, body horror, harm, gore, all of that. But I was very surprised with how intense it was in her books. And I definitely think of the ones I read. So I have Pretty Girls, and then I read Blindsided and Kiss Cut. I definitely enjoyed Pretty Girls the most. Blindsided and Kiss Cut are the beginning of her Grant County series. And I think what I remembered when I started reading those is I don't love intense thriller series, because to me it starts to feel like all of these big, scary, traumatic events just keep happening to the same couple of characters. So I think I started book 3, and then the beginning of book 3, the main character's sister ends up getting hurt after she's already gone through all this stuff in the first 2 the main character has. And I was just kind of, I needed a break, and I still haven't gone back to it. I will say Kiss Cut deals with childhood sex abuse. So if that's a trigger for you, I just wouldn't even go in there, because I didn't realize how much it was going to bother me, and I was caught very off guard by how graphic and how detailed it was. And it was, yeah, that was a big no-no for me. So okay, and then in 2021, I got into Emily Henry. So yeah, lots of fun. Let's see which ones I read. It looks like just People We Meet on Vacation and Beach Read. That might have been all that was out at the time. Of the 2, definitely liked, I don't know. I was gonna say I liked Beach Read more, but I think I like them both for different reasons. I loved sort of the slow burn in both of them. I liked the emotional journey we went on in Beach Read, but I really enjoyed the friends to lovers in People We Meet on Vacation. I think that's a really fun trope, and there can be a lot of fun tension when you do that. So yeah, both of those were great. I read a couple Katie Roberts. That was fun. I read all of the Off Campus series by Elle Kennedy. I liked them at the time, but yeah, actually, did I? I gave 2 of them 2 stars and one of them 4 stars and one of them 3 stars. So yeah, they were decent. Ooh, then I read Project Hail Mary. Still think about that one. Highly recommend on audio. I think that's a pretty like well agreed upon consensus. Most people say listen to that one on audio. So love, love, love that one. Then we have Love and Other Words. This is another Friends to Lovers. This one destroyed me. I remember just weeping, trying to explain to my husband what was happening and why I was sad. Yeah, love that one. A lot of people compare that one obviously to Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, and I think I would have enjoyed Every Summer After if maybe I hadn't read Love and Other Words. I'm not going to say there was any sort of plagiarism or copying or anything. I mean, the basis of it is just that the main female character used to go to blank location for the summer, fell in love with a boy there, and then she would leave during not the summer. And then something at some point kept the two of them from being together. So yes, obviously there's similarities there, but they're both unique in their own way. I just definitely enjoyed Love and Other Words a lot more. Ooh, then I read the Truly Devious series by Maureen Johnson. Loved these. The first three, absolutely solid. They follow a group of children at this very prestigious high school. And this, our main character, Stevie, gets brought to the high school because she is very much into true crime and solving mysteries. And she ends up taking on the mystery of the school, like the historical mystery of a crime that occurred at the school. And so the first three deal with that mystery in particular. Very, very good. Love those a lot. The fourth one was fun. And then the fifth one was honestly disappointing. I'll continue if Maureen Johnson keeps writing in this world, but if I was recommending it to someone else, I would say just read those three for sure. So yeah, that was kind of what I read in 2021. Oh, and then I read a bunch of Ice Planet Barbarians. Those are fun, very dirty. If you're looking for a book about women stranded on an alien planet falling in love with giant blue aliens, then that's the series for you. So, yeah, have fun with that. Now we're going up to 2022. Oh, I was going to say, so 2020, I had 5 books tracked. 2021, I had 31 books tracked. And now I'm looking at 2022, I had 41 books tracked. So, I read As You Wish, which is the memoir by Carrie Elwes, Wesley from Princess Bride. Very fun. Loved that. Loved the personal touches of a lot of stories from the actors, and it was just so fun hearing about filming a movie that I really love and will always be really important to me. Big romance year, not surprising. I read some Devney Perry. I read her Eden series, the at least the books that were out at this point. So Indigo Ridge, Juniper Hill, and Garnet Flats. Really, really enjoyed those. I think of those, the first two were really, really solid. The third one wasn't my favorite, and I've been kind of hit or miss as it goes. I forget which one it was, but one of the like love interests of one of those books that I did, I think book 5 or 6 that I didn't really love, he was on leave from a police department after killing a young boy in a police shooting, so didn't love that. But definitely the first two were good. Then I read some Olivia Dade. So her novels are wonderful for diverse representation and seeing women who don't look the way that society tells us that we're supposed to look fall in love with big sexy men. They're truly delightful. Their representation is really great, and the spoiler alert, there's 3 of them that I've read. They basically all revolve around actors who worked on a Game of Thrones style show. So it's pretty clear that she's alluding to Game of Thrones by talking about how popular the show is, but also even in the creators' names. The creators of the show are like, she refers to them as R&R, and I think in Game of Thrones it's like D&D or something. So very, very clearly referencing that. But those are super fun and really sweet. Oh, and then I read Every Summer After, which I just talked about. Definitely would recommend Love and Other Words more, but Every Summer After is still fun. Then I went through a bit of a Tessa Bailey phase. I'm seeing a lot of 3 stars. That's pretty much how I feel about her. They're all just sort of okay. I think I'm done with Tessa Bailey. They don't really do much for me anymore. Then I read Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reed. Loved this one. Love this one so much. I think I have it on my, yeah, I have it right behind me with this truly beautiful cover. So this is a fairy tale retelling, grim retelling. I forget what it's a retelling of, but it is more of a horror novel, and the creeping anxiety that Ava Reed builds, but specifically by using repetitive prose, some repetitive phrasing throughout the book that starts to stick with you and make you think and pay attention to what she's been saying, was really, really well done. It's a short book with a big payoff, and absolutely love that one. Highly recommend. I read To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, which I talked about in my booktube newbie tag. So this big chunky boy really, really loved this, and I want him to write more. It was very, very, very fun. Fun, I say, as it's about like aliens and trying to save the universe, but still fun, in my opinion. Ooh, then this year I tried out Book of the Month for the first time, and this still stands my favorite Book of the Month book that I've ever read is right here. Kaikai, I've heard it pronounced both ways, by Vaishnavi Patel, is a retelling of an Indian myth, and I read this in like a day. I loved it so much, and I have another one of her books on my Kindle right now. I need to get to that one, but really, really loved that one. Okay, then I read Guild by Raven Kennedy, Plated Prisoner. Let me know if I should ever continue those, because I didn't like it at all. And maybe that's my answer, is that if I didn't like it, I shouldn't read it. But yeah, didn't love that. Oh my God. Talk about a book I absolutely hated. One Italian Summer. More like one summer of a woman being just the most toxic person you could possibly think of. Like, the only thing redeeming about this book was really great descriptions of Italian food. Everything else was horrible. Hated that book so much. Absolutely not. Ooh. Okay. So from that scathing review directly into An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green, and then the sequel, A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor. Loved these so much. It has Hank Green's, relatable snark, and it has his intelligence. He obviously is a very smart person, and just a really fun sci-fi. So, highly recommend that. Oh, and then by another Green brother, the other one, John Green, The Anthropocene Reviewed. These are his essays. So it's nonfiction, short story sort of form, essay form, I guess. He wrote this in response to a conversation he had with Hank about sort of the existential dread that I think we were all feeling in 2020. And it led to, I think, some of his most beautiful work. There's specifically an essay where he talks about Auld Lang Syne, and when I re listen to it and I hear him start to sing Auld Lang Syne, it makes me cry every single time. So, highly recommend that on audio, but highly recommend just in general. Oop, then we have Book Lovers. I think that's my favorite of Emily Henry. Definitely love that one. Then I read All of the Brown Sisters by Talia Hibbert. Just no notes. Perfect. Love those. Um, yeah. So those are some of my standouts from 2022. Okay, so now we're going into 2023. So another jump up in the number of books that we read. Went from 41 to 61. So 23 was a really good year. I'm seeing Morbidly Yours by Ivy Fairbanks. This is about a graphic artist who goes to, or an animator actually, who goes to live in Ireland and falls in love with a mortician. Yeah, with a mortician. And I love it because our male main character, let's see, Callum, very much to me at least reads autistic, and any sort of neurodivergent rep, even if it's not overtly stated, I love. So that was very sweet and spicy. So that's a fun one. I read all of all of Elsie Silver's backlog in this year. So it was a big cowboy year. Had a lot of fun with those. Would definitely recommend if that's your thing. I do, people cracks me up. A lot of people are like, I don't know why Elsie Silver set this book in Canada. Well, it's because she's from Canada. And people laugh because they don't realize that there are still farms and ranches and horses and all of that in Canada, just like there is down here. So that always makes me laugh. But yeah, they are Canadian. I read Forget Me Not by Julie Soto, who I didn't realize was is a big fan fiction writer, and she's got a book coming out this year from one of her fan fictions, a Hermione fic. So definitely want to check that out. But Forget Me Not was a second chance romance, which again we know I love. If you've seen my top 10 of 2024, I talked a little bit about that. But Forget Me Not is about a wedding planner and a florist, and I just loved it. Ooh, I read In a Jam and Shucked by Kate Canterbury. So they're set in the same town, although it looks like by the classification that she's done for her series, they might be separate series. So yeah, we'll see what she does with that. But had a really great time with both of those. One of the things that Kate Canterbury does is she doesn't always do a third act breakup, which is cool. I don't hate a third act breakup. Even if it's predictable, like I don't care cuz I know that that's a convention of the genre, and sometimes working within a set framework in a genre gives you those guardrails to make yourself be a little bit more creative, even if you're following something that can be a little bit predictable for readers. So I have no problem with that, but it is kind of refreshing sometimes to see a different author's take on that style. And yeah, I love these characters. Yours truly, again, I mentioned in my other my top 10 that Just for the Summer was one of my honorable mentions. I think what I forgot to say in that video is I loved the way that she has interconnected all of these books. So if you like an interconnected series where you get to see um, moments with characters again, that was really fun. I love getting to see little glimpses of our favorite characters still being happy. So love that. Ooh, The 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I must have also, I wonder when I read The Dead Romantics because I loved The Dead Romantics so much. There it is. So I read it in the same year. Um, I loved this so much. It made me cry. I think I was laughing with a friend. We were kind of complaining about, why is it in every romance book a parent has to die? It's kind of like the Disney curse, but she does it so well in this book. I think it's really beautiful. But in The 7 Year Slip, kind of similar. She loses a family member, but there's this magical element of her apartment that she's been left by her aunt is making her go back 7 years. So, kind of an interesting fantasy element there, but really love that one. Ooh, I need to look and see what else this author has coming out. Ava Wilder, Will They or Won't They? About two actors who had kind of a fling while they were filming this really popular show and then broke up. They're coming back together to film another season and sort of having that rekindling of that spark. Really fun. Really enjoyed that one. Gotta scroll past all my Elsie Silver because, like I said, I read all of her books. I dabbled in Lauren Asher, so the fine print, terms and conditions, and final offer. Did not like these that much. I thought the fine print was obnoxious. I think what I'm realizing is I don't love billionaire romances. Eat the rich. Billionaires shouldn't exist. I don't need them in my romance novels. But of the three, I believed the emotional journeys in Final Offer a little bit more. Yeah, it's kind of my thought about that. I read Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. I liked this one so much more than Every Summer After. I thought it was really creative how we have these two characters who only spent one day together when they were young, and that created such an intense connection that they never forgot each other. So I thought that was really creative. Then I read The True Love Experiment. So the first one the first one was okay. What was it called? By Christina Lauren. I don't know. But this book, it's almost like The Bachelor. She goes on, she's trying to find love, but at the beginning, slight spoiler, she has an instant connection with the producer. And so she's got this sort of conflicting feeling this whole time. She's supposed to fall in love with one of her contestants, but she only has eyes for the producer. So really enjoyed that one. Read some more Allie Hazelwood. So we got Love Theoretically. I think I read most of Allie Hazelwood's in that year. Yeah, I think I read all of them. I read all of her books and I read her novellas, which her novellas are really fun. We had Under One Roof, Stuck with You, and Below Zero. I would love Below Zero as a full book. I'm mad that that's just a novella. I really enjoyed that one. Happy Place. Okay, Happy Place is tied with Book Lovers because while I love the idea of Book Lovers, that the main character is basically, if we think about classic romance, she's the mean girlfriend who gets broken up with for like our main character. While I love that, Happy Place made me feel so melancholy. This feeling of growing up, of all your friends going in different directions, of trying to figure out what you actually want, of trying to figure out who you are when you're an adult and you've got your whole life staring in front of you. And are you truly doing what makes you happy? So I really, really loved Happy Place. Love on the Brain. That's what I couldn't remember. I had been talking about I had been talking about Check and Mate, and I made a comment about how the galaxy leggings really didn't bother me from Love on the Brain. I know a lot of people hate the galaxy leggings. For me, she's a space nerd. Obviously, she owns some galaxy print leggings. I guess it just made sense to me. But yeah, that was a hit. Loved that. Loved the Love Hypothesis. I read all of Sierra Simone's books. So we had Priest, Sinner, and Saint. I think Saint, for some of the dirtiest books that I've read in a while, Saint pulls off such an incredible representation of suicidality and depression that I've seen depicted in fiction. Um, Nestled in another really deep exploration of religion and what it means to have faith, and from an outsider who was not really raised on religion and does not have a strong faith, I found that really fascinating. So those, despite being extremely dirty, they're surprisingly deep. And yeah, okay, so that's my 2023. And if you want to hear about my favorite books from 2024, I'll tag that below. But thanks for hanging out with me and chatting with some books. Let me know if you enjoyed this. I thought this might be kind of fun. Get us sort of caught up, maybe give you a flavor of some books that I've read in the past couple of years that I've loved. And let me know some of your favorites, some of the things that you'd love to reread, some of the things that you do reread that you go back to. I would love to hear about that. So thanks. Bye.